ATI material, and we have a handbook on best practices on implementation of access to information. We also have a guide on proactive disclosure for public entities and national and county government level. We also have a simplified version of ATI. At the same time, we have come up, as I said, a tool to monitor the implementation of ATI. Having said that, we do not work alone. We work with other stakeholders. That is, we have established many partnerships with Parliament, Judiciary, Office of the Attorney General, Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, Kenya School of Government. We have also teamed up with the Council of Governors to implement ATI, and in this regard, we have come up with a prototype model on how county governments will domesticate ATI law. All this is in line with ATI law, and also to ensure that there is freedom of press and flowing information to the public. As a commission, we have not also failed to work with our development partners, and in this regard, we are members of Open Government Partnership, which brings together government agencies and civil society and NGO to come up with a national action plan to address many areas, and one of them being access to information. Further, we have also agreed to come up with a curriculum with the Kenya School of Government to train public officers. We are also members of international bodies so that we keep in line with international best practice. As I conclude, I want to commemorate the World Freedom Day by stating that the Commission is ready and willing to work with the media, and in particular, the Media Council of Kenya, and all members for the implementation of freedom of speech, and we are ready to put all effort to open up government operation and to ensure that there is development in our country. Further, as we move forward, the Commission seeks to have greater partnership with all stakeholders to promote accountability and good government. We also note that it is important to continue training the media, including the journalists and all other access to information officers who are entrenched and who are supposed to implement access to information. Thank you very much. And I wish you a fruitful day.
Oh, thank you so much indeed. Indeed, without information, you will not know your rights. Right now, very quickly, we have our online guest. There's feedback, but very quickly, we want to go to our first guest. Our first guest. Madam Marceline Nyambala, are you there? If you're there, we kindly request that you speak to us. We are ready and waiting for you if you are present.
Okay. All right.
Are you in?
Thank you.
All right.
Am I next? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you from afar though.
Yes. Okay. Is the sound better? Is it better now?
From afar, maybe
Is that
it's
better?
on our side that we need to correct. Our sound is okay.
Okay, so thank you very much. My name is Maslin Nyambala, the Executive Director, Association of Media Women in Kenya. The Honorable Justin Muturi, Speaker of the National Assembly. Esther Koimet, PS, State Department, Broadcasting and Telecommunication. World Association Press Council, Dr. Sule Aka, Chair of Media Council, Maina Miruri, Silva De Silva from the Canadian High Commission, Chair of the Complaints Commission, William Okech, CEO of Media Council, David Omoyo, and Commissioner of the Commission of Administrative Justice, Lucy Ndungu. Thank you. I wish everybody a happy World Press Freedom Day. We thank the Media Council of Kenya and all partners involved for inviting the Association of Media Women in Kenya. And first is to express that we are extremely humbled and honored as AMWIC fraternity and community that today we have at least 10 members as speakers and panelists in this auspicious day. This is a testament of the years of investment in capacity building, as well as the thought leadership and impact and influence our members are having in various institutions, the country, and internationally. With regard to the theme of the day, information as public good, this is a timely reminder of the value of information for public interest, especially at a time when we have increasingly seen the commodification of information. The theme is inherent in our journalistic practice, and looking at post-COVID situation where we have ourselves confronted by numerous health, economic, and social issues, it is clear that Kenya, like many nations, needs to strengthen its infrastructure. We can no longer say that we depend on the national health system. We have seen massive job losses, estimated at 2 million. Some 600 jobs have been lost in our own sector. We have seen the GBV challenge pandemic. For us, we therefore feel that we as a media, and with this theme in mind, we need to deploy all our arsenals to engage everybody on the multitude and plethora of surmountable challenges that we face today. We indeed need to ensure that everybody has access to information, and even as media institutions grapple with dwindling revenue and high competition from multiple media platforms, social media, and other innovative platforms that have all come to share in the advertising revenue, we therefore feel that there is need to relook at our communication systems to ensure inclusion, as well as mobilize public to invest in the new business models that may take a public, private, and non-profit model. From our side, as Association of Media Women in Kenya, we are convicted that inclusion
Well, apologies, Madam Maslin. You're talking to us about inclusion as AMWIC are committed that inclusion. Probably if you're able to pick it up from there. Madam Maslin. Okay. Well, unfortunately, lost her there, but thank you so much. The theme indeed is inherent in our journalistic practice.
Just had a blackout as I finalize.
Oh, fantastic.
I've come to an end.
Go.
And therefore, for us, we feel that inclusion is a fundamental answer to the challenges that we face, and that some of the
All right. inclusion, a fundamental answer to the challenges we face. Unfortunately, we've lost you, but many thanks. Madam Maslin, we appreciate your presence and your thoughts, indeed committed to enhancing the status of women in Kenya and Africa. Thank you so much. Very quickly, we'll move on. Our next guest is also online. She's at the center of championing the cause of free speech and freedom of a responsible press. A universal acknowledgement of the need for a free and unrestricted flow of information beyond the boundaries of the media, embracing the role of a public trust that is subjected to only one restriction: the internal or self-regulation. Please welcome World Association of Press Councils President Dr. Sule Aka. If you're there, please, the floor is yours.
Morning to you.
Good morning. We can hear you. Excellent. Go ahead.
I'm glad that you can hear me. I'm extremely honored to be present for the second time in Kenya Press Freedom Day, because I think it is very important, and also Kenya is one of our founding members, and we are very grateful for the contributions Kenyan Press Council is doing to World Association of Press Councils. I want to greet all our colleagues, the chairman and His Excellency. But I think today the most important participants are the media workers, media participants, and the people working in the media sector. So it's very important. Why? They're always important. Media is very important because every individual has the right to have the correct information, and to have the information and to have the correct information. This is one of the basic rights, human rights. So it's very important that we have this Press Freedom Day, so that press can have freedom to express the views of what is happening on the ground. It's very important, and I want to congratulate all the workers who is taking part in the processing and production of news. Those are the people we have to celebrate today. Now, one thing is more crucial for this year. Of course, free press is always very important. And it is free press, people will be able to have the correct information. But also, on top of it, free press is more important than ordinary times because there are crises. Of course, you know, we all know the crisis. This is the pandemic, COVID-19 crisis. But during those critical periods, the press becomes even more important because people are curious. They want to know what is happening, and they have the right to see, to hear what is happening, because it's important for them to take the right decisions. If they have the correct information, they can take the correct decisions. So it becomes a public good, as the questionnaire was addressed at the beginning of that beautiful conference meeting. So it becomes even more of a public good during the times of crisis. So I think, and also we all know that participants of press, we all know that producing in times of crisis is more difficult than ordinary times. Because here, for example, if you're producing news and a responsible journalist would like to collect the ideas from both sides and present an unbiased news. But during COVID, to do that, they risk their well-being, their health, their lives. So they've been sacrificing from many things during crisis. So this meeting for this year, I hope next year we are going to have a better meeting without COVID crisis. But this meeting this year has been very special and very critical from the point of view of the media players. It's very important. So this is why I want to congratulate all the media participants for continuing their work under those very difficult, very challenging conditions. So I'm so glad that we can access to each other, even on online, and presenting each other's views and exchanging ideas, which is very important. It's because we learn from each other. What I experience and what you experience, we connect those experiences, and because of that, we learn more. We have more solutions to those problems. This is why I think my position here is to encourage solidarity, connections, helping each other, supporting each other, because it's not very easy what we are going through. So support and morale to each other is also very important. Otherwise, it would be, it could be very difficult to carry. So certain things could be very difficult to carry. This is why journalists are one of the main people or workers, let me say, affected by COVID-19. 400 died in 1 year, and many got sick. Thank God the others got better, and many members, maybe half of our members in WAPC was sick because of COVID-19, and they got better. I'm glad about that. But what you see is the communication necessary to perform our jobs makes our jobs very difficult and very risky and very challenging. So I hope the COVID-19 crisis will be over by next May 3rd, and we'll have a meeting at the same time celebrating the overcoming of all those challenging times. At the same time, we will be able to talk only about press freedoms, which is also very important. Why it is important? Because if we don't have press freedoms, the governments turn into autocrats, because there's no, probably the politicians are not, they may not have all the possibility of criticizing certain wrong actions. So it is only press and media can correct and regulate the wrong actions of the governments. So this is why I hope next year we won't have COVID-19, and we'll be discussing how to achieve a true free press. Of course, with the responsible journalists. We also need responsible journalism, because we know that journalism is sometimes used as a venue for political purposes, for individual purposes, for individual interests. We all know that. But I think that can also be regulated. We are talking WAPC. Our rules is that we are for self-regulating mechanisms of press, because it's only self-regulation that gives us the results of free, unbiased press. This is, of course, Kenya was a member and a founding member of World Association of Press Councils, and we developed all those ethics together. And there, I see that from observing your this meeting and the participants. I'm seeing that it went quite far and established all those ethical rules and regulations in the performances of journalists. And we can celebrate with massive audience online or in person this Press Freedom Day. Those are all very good signs. And I'm so proud that our members have come to this point. Believe me, there are not too many countries with that conscience, that advanced level. So I want to congratulate you, and I wish you a very nice year, much better than the one we had. And I wish we can meet with you next May 3rd in person. So thank you very much for inviting me.
Indeed, thank you so much, Dr. Sule.
Thank you.
For your time. Thank you for your sentiments. Indeed, we must work with solidarity, connection, and of course supporting each other. And still a big challenge there to journalism.
Very challenging.
Responsible journalism. Thank you so much, Dr. Sule. All the best, and thank you so much for being part of the conversation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue on, I'd kindly request for those who are here and you have your Zoom on, connected to Zoom, kindly log out, because that's what is bringing the feedback. My apologies for that, but we still celebrate that you are here. And of course, word from Dr. Sule there, celebrate really what the Media Council of Kenya is doing. So keep it up. We celebrate you. Very quickly, we want to move on to our next. Our next speaker is here. Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, he leads an independent body which mediates or adjudicates disputes between media stakeholders on ethical issues to ensure adherence to high standards of journalism as provided for the practice of journalism in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Media Complaints Commission Chairman William Okech. Makofi yake tafadhali.
Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Justin Muturi, as assisted by the principal guest, the PS, State Department of Broadcasting, Esther Koimet, the Chairman of the Media Council, Mr. Maina Mururi, the CEO of the Media Council, Mr. David Omoyo, the CEO of the Kenya Film Classification Board, Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, all distinguished guests. Good morning. Good morning. And all guests who have joined online. On this momentous occasion, we join media practitioners across the world to celebrate the World Press Freedom Day. It is an occasion for me, for us to reflect on and gain strength on just 5 key issues, and I will call them the A, B, C, D, and E of media freedom. May we, on this day, acknowledge the centrality of press freedom in consolidating democracy and spurring economic development. May we bear testimony to the sacrifices of our fallen colleagues in the course of duty and rededicate ourselves to service for the nation. May we also celebrate the gains made in the media space in terms of divergence and plurality, while also seeking innovative solutions. May we also defend media freedom from saboteurs and stand for the right of a free but responsible media practice. And lastly, may we on this occasion evaluate press freedom and soul search on the successes, failures, and promises of a better performance. So ladies and gentlemen, if we stick to those A, B, C, D, and E of media freedom, we will go far. Asante sana, and God bless you all. God bless Kenya.
Thank you so much indeed, Brother William Okech. The A, B, C, D, and E of media law, we can definitely go very far. Very quickly, in the meantime, move on to our next guest. He has over 15 years experience in journalism, media training, and management, spanning the public, private, religious, and governmental sectors. He has also worked in academia, advocating for the solution of the coordinated establishment of coordinating community radios in different parts of the country to promote community dialogue for sustainable peace and rural development. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Media Council of Kenya Chief Executive Officer, Mr. David Omoyo. Makofi kwake tafadhali.
Thank you very much. The chief guest, Honorable Justin Muturi, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Madam Esther Koimet, our PS, CEO KFCB, Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, Mheshimiwa William Kisang, the Chairman Parliamentary Committee on ICT, Madam Lucy Lungu from CAJ, my Chairman and members of the Council, Chairman and members of the Complaints Commission, and all distinguished guests, good morning. Before I proceed, I request that we kindly stand up. Please stand up and join me in 30 seconds of silence in honor of veteran journalist Philip Ochieng. 2 years ago, he won the Lifetime Achievement Award by the Media Council during the year. And you know that about 2 weeks ago, we lost him. So for 30 seconds, let's keep silent in honor of his work. Thank you very much. Please be seated. First, it's my honor to welcome you here to this occasion, which we are holding in a very special way, welcoming also all our honored guests. But we are marking this ceremony in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. So while we are happy to notice that journalists are able to do their work, but in the past 1 year, hundreds, if not thousands of journalists have lost their jobs. A few have lost their lives. Several others have been hospitalized. Some actually been in the ICU for up to 60 or 90 days. More than 300 journalists, according to our records, were hospitalized. We lost 3. Apart from Robin Njogu, head of Radio Travel Media Service, we lost 2 other journalists. We have had at least 2,000 journalists having serious salary cuts, adding up to 30%. But in that time, we have also tried our best as the council, with a lot of support from the National Assembly. We were able to roll out a journalist support grant, where more than 147 media houses received funding to be able to sustain jobs and remain in operation. And more than 602 journalists have received also direct travel grants to do their stories. As we celebrate the success and the opportunity it gave us, I would like to comment two broad matters. Number one, about the laws of the media. In that, while we have the Media Council Act, a very progressive law that allows journalists to operate, we have a cocktail of laws distributed all over our penal code and the Constitution and circulars that interfere with the work of the media. These Books and Newspapers Act of the 1970s, one or two circulars of 1950, and others that affect the work that we do. And that's why later today, with the very able representation of the lawmakers from the chairman of the committee and the speaker himself, we are going to launch a book which we will present to Parliament about what the media sector feels are laws distributed all over the place that interfere with our work. We hope that moving forward, we will have laws that allow journalists to do their work. Secondly, media literacy forums. In this era of fake news, deep fakes, the internet, and sometimes hate speech, we are engaging a lot in community information, the media literacy forums, to get people to understand how the media works, to be able to decipher fake news, not just journalists so that they can get good news out there or accurate news, but also the community who are the consumers. Fact-checking and verification is now no longer just a journalist's affair, but everybody's work. And that's why at the Media Council, we are investing heavily in the media information literacy to train people to know how to consume the media. We look forward, Chief Guest, Bwana Speaker, and Bwana Chairman, saying that the legislative review that we launched today will see fruition such that the next time we either get the omnibus amendment and all that, we'll be able to amend the law so that media can operate effectively. As we prepare for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, when we have the conclusion of these celebrations, where we'll be granting journalists excellence, I wish all journalists a happy World Press Freedom Day, and all the stakeholders who are making media and journalistic work successful, hoping that we may continue informing, educating, and entertaining Kenyans. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much indeed, Moyo. In the era of fake news, fact-checking is everyone's work, not just journalists' affair. Ladies and gentlemen, very quickly, we want to move on. We have one guest online still connecting, but in the meantime, our next guest is a career journalist with over 25 years experience working in the mainstream media in Kenya. He's also a trainer, mentor, lecturer, and has hands-on experience in, among other areas, field of mass communication, news reporting, feature writing, analysis, editing, newspaper and magazine production, media house management, media content development, planning and budgeting. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Media Council of Kenya Chairman, Mr. Maina Muiruri. Karibu sana.
Our honorable guests, Speaker of the National Assembly, Mheshimiwa Justin Muturi, Mheshimiwa PS wetu, Madam Esther Koinet, Mheshimiwa William Kisang, our ICT Chair, Madam Lucy Ndungu, Commissioner, CEO KFCB Ezekiel Mutua, our Chair Complaint Commission William Okech, our CEO and Secretary Staff, our board members who are here and who are following virtually. Karibuni sana. To this international occasion which we are honored to celebrate here in Nairobi, Serena Hotel. I've come here with the laptop, but I'll only read 4 paragraphs of the speech, not all of it, because what we have is already shared widely. Will be shared widely online. The world today marks the World Press Freedom Day under the apt theme, information as a public good. If COVID did not happen, it's not in the speech, it's my addition. If COVID did not happen, most of us would have been in Windhoek, Namibia today, where it's being done, where the international event is happening. This event, it's worthy of note. World Press Freedom Day was the seed that brought it to be, was sown by African editors in 1991 in Namibia, Windhoek. It's 30 years today. So it's being commemorated at the 30th anniversary. After those editors met in Namibia, 3 years down the line, the United Nations picked it up, the United Nations General Assembly, and it was entrenched as one of the big international days of the United Nations. It's very important for the media. The Media Council is honored to anchor the celebrations here in Nairobi today, and we welcome all the media family in Kenya and internationally to embrace it. Most of the things we usually speak on this day are what is yet to be gained. But it's also a day to say that a lot has been gained. In 1991, when the Windhoek Declaration was being pronounced, there was almost no media freedom in Kenya. Comparing 91 and now, journalists, the youngsters who are taking our photographs here and reporting us, would be interested to know that in 1991, I was ahead already in the profession. Even my colleague in KFCB, Ezekiel Mutua, had not started yet. There was no media freedom to talk about. A lot of steps have been achieved concurrently with democratic growth. But that is not that we are fully there. We still have a lot of steps to achieve. One of the big events that will happen in this forum is the launch of what the CEO has said, of the proposals that would like to be changed to make the media field, working field, better. So as we celebrate the day, the factors to underline are that the aim is to keep opening up media operating space, to be more free. We live in Kenya, and so we know we live in the East African region, and so you know if you stand up here and look around our region, we may look quite better off. Indeed, we always keep hoping East Africa and the African region can grow together in media gains. Kenya is not at a very bad place. We compare ourselves to progressive democracies like ours, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana. You cannot mention 10 in that category. So we are not very badly off. However, we still have a lot of ground to cover. Without finishing the long speech, I would like to take this opportunity to thank, last year after COVID was declared on March 13, we went into economic dive down. It affected everybody. It affected the media companies. Within a short while, many companies, media included, went into salary cuts, retrenchments. Media was badly affected. Over 500 journalists have lost their jobs today. We continue encouraging many and trying to train them how to survive on their own, because life may never go back to normal even when COVID is overcome or contained or coped with. what was I saying? I want to thank media houses which have realized the need for the human right to work and be compensated, and they have reinstated the full pay of their journalists. I would also like to appeal to those who are yet to reinstate to give it priority as a gift for the World Press Freedom Day. With the trend we have seen in the last 3 days, with the lockdown being eased, the biggest hope is that businesses will also start coming back to normal. We also want to thank the government through Madam PS, noting that a lot of debt owed to media houses through advertising has also been settled. So my appeal is that please consider our journalists. Reinstate the full pay. It's a big media right. It's a big human right. Thank you very much. Mr. Jembe Mwakazi, they worked welcoming you as well. I'll not try to read your papers. But I welcome our guests to this event and everybody who is participating. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honourable Chair. We celebrate. And of course, the appeal to media stations there is a gift during this World Press Freedom Day, reinstate the full pay. We missed out on one of our guests who is joining us online. He is a diplomat specialized in managing and challenging environments abroad. Please welcome Canadian High Commission in Kenya, Chargé d'Affaires, Mr. David Da Silva. If you're there, we are glad and really awaiting to hear from you. Go ahead.
And in particular to our tireless media heroes and heroines, it's my pleasure to participate in this year's World Press Freedom Day celebrations organized by the Media Council of Kenya. You can't have a free and healthy democracy without a free and healthy press. The media plays a crucial role in defending human rights, in promoting inclusion and diversity, holding the powerful to account, and helping democracies to flourish. By reporting on issues, citizens become empowered to engage in discussions and make the informed decisions they need to, and they can also demand accountability. This role of the press is now more important than ever as we struggle to deal with the impacts of COVID-19. Journalists reporting on this healthcare crisis are playing a critical role for society and must be allowed to report the facts freely and independently. And in particular for Canada, which values diversity and a multiplicity of voices, because journalism serves the people, it's important to make sure that media voices reflect the people themselves. We need to see and to hear more journalists who are women, who are youth, those who are disabled, those who are from poorer and other disadvantaged communities. However, journalists from these groups, including and especially women, face bigger barriers, harassment, and abuse. It's incumbent on the rest of us to do everything we can to protect and promote these people and the crucial stories that they tell. At the same time, today also gives us a chance to reflect on press freedom not just in Kenya, but worldwide. Canada is pretty concerned about what we see. It's frustrating and it's saddening to see violations of the right to freedom of expression, including overly harsh censorship of media content, as well as threats and attacks against journalists, including here in Africa. In 2020 alone, worldwide, 32 journalists were killed because of their work. And during COVID-19, many laws put in place to reduce the spread of the virus have also led to reduced press freedom and harassments of journalists. In light of these challenges, Canada must engage constructively to find solutions to protect the voices of journalists. And we are proud of the role that we have taken to strengthen press freedom worldwide. In 2019 and in 2020, we co-hosted the first and the second Global Conference for Media Freedom with the United Kingdom and with Botswana, respectively. In the 2019 conference, donations by Canada, as well as the UK, created the new Global Media Defence Fund, which is administered by the UN, by UNESCO. This fund supports journalists to access legal advice and helps to provide training on safety and investigative journalism. So this message is for all the members of the press who are tuned in and listening and participating today. I want to let you know that these Canada-funded grants are currently available to apply for if you are a grassroots organization and a human rights defenders work and willing to work on media freedom and the protection of journalists. For details, please see the Canada High Commission Twitter page, and our handle is @CanHC Kenya. So that's @CanHC Kenya. For those who are online, I will also put the link into the Zoom chat. Closer to home, our mission in Nairobi here has collaborated with the Media Council of Kenya, as well as the Bloggers Association of Kenya, to support press freedom online and offline. We know that Kenyans are sophisticated media consumers. They hold the media in high esteem and use multiple media platforms to get their news. They count on the media to help provide critical information and analysis that affects their communities, their livelihoods, and their families. As such, the role that the media plays in Kenya compels you as journalists to provide accurate, informed, and unbiased reporting. You hold in your pens, in your notepads, in your cameras, your microphones, laptops, and mobile phones, incredible power to report truths, to spark conversations, and to shape opinions. Use your power and use it well. I would like to thank all journalists for their commitment and their courage, and I want to honor the memory of those who are killed in the exercise of their profession. You can't have a free and healthy democracy without a free and healthy press. Canada will always stand up for journalistic freedom and stand against violence and intimidation used to silence journalists. Thank you for the important work you do. Happy World Press Freedom Day. Merci beaucoup. Asante sana.
Merci beaucoup indeed. Asante sana. Karibu. Many thanks. Need a healthy press. Our democracies to flourish. And of course, a challenge there. We must use our power and use it well. Thank you so much, Mr. David. Thank you so much indeed. Right now, very quickly, we want to move on to our keynote addresses as well. But of course, we want to celebrate all the partners, the Canadian High Commission, a very key partner. We have NHIF, we have RBA, we have Transparency International Kenya, Katiba Institute, the Open Society Initiative. All these are key partners, and we want to celebrate them for really being part of this event and making it happen. Now, at this moment, we want to hear from the government side. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'd kindly request that you join me in welcoming Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs, State Department, Broadcasting, Telecommunication, Principal Secretary, Ms. Esther Boymet. A big round of applause. Karibu sana.
Chair of the ICT Committee in Parliament, and a very good partner of ours in that regard. Lucy Ndungu, the Commissioner, CAJ, the Chairman of the Media Council of Kenya, Mr. Maina Muluri, CEOs of state corporations in the media sector, Bwana Omoyo, Bwana Mutua, and any other CEO who's here, colleagues in the media space, our partners, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. It gives me great pleasure to join you this morning as we mark the World Press Freedom Day 2021. We note that it is now over 3 decades since the United Nations General Assembly made a resolution to celebrate and to take stock of how the press performs its responsibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, Article 34 and 35 of our Constitution gives the media special and extensive protection in order to enjoy freedom and independence. Specifically, it provides that the state shall not A, exercise control over or interfere with any person engaged in broadcasting, the production or circulation of any publication, or the dissemination of information by any media, and B, penalize any person for any opinion or view or the content of any broadcast, publication, or dissemination. So the press freedom is assured constitutionally in this country. We recognize and appreciate the role played by the media in Kenya in the country's political, economic, and social development. The media has the key function to inform public opinion and to monitor whether the government is keeping its promises. The Kenya Vision 2030 identifies access to information as a key enabler in supporting the vision's pillars in attaining wealth creation, social welfare, and international competitiveness. Further, it identifies information technology as one of the key facilitators to deliver the 10% annual economic growth envisaged under the vision, under the economic pillar of the vision. To achieve this transformation of Kenya's the transformation of Kenya's media sector to an innovative, focused, independent, free, and accountable sector is critical. Under Article 35 of the Constitution of Kenya on the Bill of Rights, every citizen has the right to access to information. The legislature has gone further and enacted the Access to Information Act 2016 to actualize the provisions of Article 35 of the Constitution, which, among other things, obligates public institutions like the Media Council of Kenya to proactively disclose information to the public. The government is committed to invest in media development, respecting freedom of the press and fostering improvements in the sector through standards, procedures, and practices that promote professionalism in the sector and enables goodwill among stakeholders. It is your job as journalists to check your facts in order to assure the veracity of your reporting. It's your job as journalists to understand the law and to ensure that you abide by the law. It's your job to always keep by your side your own code of conduct, to refer to it before your story is written and published. We believe that if you observe this, then the freedom will be assured. Where this is not done, however, where you fail in your duties to yourselves, your profession, and your countrymen, the state must and will defend those who have no other way of protecting themselves. The government expects that the Media Council of Kenya will monitor and remedy your shortcomings in the spirit of fraternal correction. We wish to see a situation where the electronic media, in pursuit of its information and education role, and in keeping faith with its social responsibility, provides free public service announcements to the Kenyan people. The regulatory authorities should lead us in this. But a basic point to remember is that those who operate frequencies do so on behalf of the public, and the public collectively owns these airwaves, and those who benefit from the public service should be seen to serve the ultimate owners of the airwaves. Ladies and gentlemen, the country has made significant efforts to lay the infrastructure that we need to transform information. Our goal in landing the undersea fiber optic cable at the coast and laying the national fiber optic network throughout the country is aimed at promoting the most rapid spread and expansion of knowledge. The government will continue to modernize and expand the ICT infrastructure and to improve access and quality of service in order to drive a knowledge-based economy. Ladies and gentlemen, looking at the history of the media in Kenya, we notice and appreciate the big role that it has played and continues to play in the democratization process, the rule of law and good governance. Media has had a patriotic objective, the freedom of the Kenyan spirit from the enslavement in sub-Saharan Africa. Media is a corporate citizen with duties and obligations similar to those of ordinary citizens, and perhaps much more. Salient among these is to represent issues and facts in a manner that creates positive perception about the state of affairs of our country. Not only despair and desperation, as if nothing good comes from the state, business communities, and not truth to power and holding those in authority accountable is what qualifies the media to be the fourth estate. Kenyans expect the media to help them make a difference in their lives and to promote transparency and good governance in the profession in a responsible manner. And as we've said, it has to be in a responsible manner. The Council must exercise its watchdog role judiciously to safeguard the rights and privileges of both the practitioners and the citizens. This puts the Council in the unenviable position of playing arbiter in often times delicate situations that demand wisdom and tact to satisfy competing interests. Ladies and gentlemen, the government is keenly listening to the idea of establishing a media fund that would ensure sustainability in the industry, which is essential for a free and independent media that serves the public interest. This has been on the cards, and with the adverse effects of the COVID-19 on the sector, serious discussions will be undertaken to ensure that that there is progress in this regard. The ministry is keen on working with the Media Council of Kenya and other stakeholders in the industry to ensure that the regulatory and policy environment is reviewed to reflect the present industry needs, including ensuring that the country has a media that serves public interest and does its work responsibly. It is in the interest of the journalism profession and the country at large that the media reports factually, objectively, and within context when reporting on public interest issues. We note with concern cases of sensationalism in reporting and caution journalists against relying on unverified sources of information, especially in this era of misinformation, propaganda, and misuse of online platforms. We are aware of the challenges facing the industry, including loss of revenue, loss of jobs for media practitioners, inability to catch up with operational models with current market demands, poor training and capacity, weak financial base, which has been made worse by the COVID pandemic. And I wish to note here what the chairman said, which is that we know that there are a number of pending bills with us that are owed to the media, and Parliament has been very kind to appropriate resources for us to meet the majority of these bills, and we are in the process of ensuring that these are paid within this financial year as within the budgetary resources that we have received. Given the digital transformation in the industry, media must find new ways of doing business, including introduction of converged newsrooms, use of digital business models, and retooling of media workers. Additionally, the emergence of social media channels as news sources has affected the flow of revenue in terms of advertising. Other challenges include training standards where the national media curriculum has not changed, thus hampering the quality and agility of media workers in an ever-changing media environment. And we call upon the media to adapt to the changing circumstances. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, it is your responsibility to deploy the infrastructure that we have created and the new emerging infrastructure, both that which we already have and that which is to come for the greater public benefit. The migration from analog to digital gives us a great room that should be used, in my view, to provide extra information, to provide more diversified information, and to provide far more local content of direct importance to Kenyans. There is no real reason why we cannot feature substantial agricultural information, letting our farmers plan their activities. There is no reason why the abundant information we possess about our environment should not make its way to our screens and our radios. Similarly, there is no reason why the wealth of information available on early warning systems for drought and floods or on public health should not be made available to every Kenyan on our newspapers, radios, and TVs. Beyond the current obsession with partisan politics, soap operas, and foreign popular culture, this country's media will need to find and supply serious, responsible, and analytical content that is directly relevant to Kenyans. The digital migration is their opportunity. As that process continues, we as policymakers will continue to engender a policy environment that is good for public, that promotes public access to information. Investors in the media industry expect returns from their investment, and they may be tempted to limit access to television and radio content to subscribers only. But access to vital information is a basic right, and the media models we adopt must protect this right for our people. Our policies, therefore, will guarantee that accessing free-to-air broadcast remains free. Free universal access to quality content will be guaranteed. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, as you reflect on your achievements in the last year, I wish you well. I pledge to you greater cooperation, more dialogue, and better access to us in government and to us working in a collaborative way with yourselves to strengthen the sector and grow the sector. I invite you to play your watchdog role responsibly and to inform and entertain us with your usual energy. Above all, work to make the country and this continent all that it can be and that it should be. It's now my pleasure to wish you a very happy World Press Freedom Day to all of you. Thank you. When I MC, just allow me to recognize Mr. Kisang, our chair of the ICT, and I don't know if, I think he should come and greet us before we welcome the chief guest, and maybe he you know, the chief guest is his boss.
Yes.
Is he? Thank you.
There's a big round of applause for Honorable William Kisang, Chairman Parliamentary. Maybe after your speech, you'll also have the honor of inviting our chief guest, Mr. Kisang.
Honorable Speaker, Justin Muturi, Speaker. Particular laws because legislative reviews to reflect what has been changing since that particular time, and also as a committee, you know, this is the first time in the wisdom of our Speaker and the leadership of the National Assembly, we saw it wise that we Parliament. So, and we didn't put a lot of effort, especially in the media. Honorable Speaker and the distinguished guests, as a committee, we have continued also to partner with the media. I remember last year, 2018, 2019, and part of 2020. Before the pandemic, we've been able to move around with the Speaker. We went to Kisumu, we went to Mombasa, to engage with the Media Editors Guild and also the Media Council, and we still continue. That's why we are here today, to still engage despite the pandemic, and we are grateful to the President because just over the weekend, the country was opened up. That's why we are here today. And because of what happened last year, because of the pandemic that was declared on 13th of March 2020, the National Assembly, through the leadership of the Speaker, we were able to appropriate some funds through the Media Council to assist our journalists, our local radio and TV stations to disseminate information about the pandemic, and we will continue to help them even in this year's budget. Honorable Speaker, you know very well, it's been reported here that some of the media houses have already reinstated full salaries. And as a leader, as a representative of the people, we would want to request the other media houses, we urge them and we request that they reinstate full salaries for the remaining journalists. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to say much because I have an opportunity later on, and you know very well the 48 laws of power. You know, when your boss is there, you can't shine, you know. You have to give your boss the opportunity. So it's not now my singular opportunity to invite the Speaker of National Assembly to give his keynote address. May we all applaud.
I know we are into interesting times. The PS Ministry of ICT, Madam Esther Koimet, the Chair of the Media Council, the Chair of the Complaints Commission, the CEOs here present, Mr. David Omoyo, Mr. Ezekiel Mutua, my old friend, who has since disappeared into social media. Honorable Kisang, the chair of the ICT committee, invited guests, and esteemed media practitioners, ladies and gentlemen. We never tire to greet each other. Habari za asubuhi. I must say that it's my pleasure to join you in marking this World Press Freedom Day, the year 2021. And as those who spoke before me have indicated, the major celebration is happening in Windhoek, Namibia, while we ourselves are celebrating the year both virtually and in person at this location due to the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions. When I was asked to speak at this prestigious event for the media fraternity, I did not want to speak about what you know. I wanted to speak about what we, the legislature, and you, the fourth estate, can do to move this country to the next level. And this is in keeping with the theme of understanding information as a public good, especially during this time of the pandemic. Somebody suggests that there is a song that goes, and I quote, "Freedom is coming tomorrow." If we have a DJ in the house, this freedom of the press is here. That's on a light note. I trust that everyone in this room agrees that a free and independent media spreading accurate and factual information is a cornerstone of a vibrant democracy and national development. This means that the journalists and editors use all legal and ethical means to obtain information held by the government and about the government. Thereafter, they relay this information with context to the public. It's not just about access to the information, but also using your professional skills, experience, and expertise as communicators to tell the full story in a way that helps people become better citizens, actively participating in nation building in their own spaces. This may mean giving them all the information they need to allow them to vote wisely on policy decisions, to choose their leaders wisely, and to hold the chosen leaders accountable. I will not ask you to be patriotic or to be the watchdog, or to be responsible, or to criticize the political class constructively. You know your job better than any one of us. You're professionals in your own right. Do your job by the book. Execute it faithfully, and you will help Kenya succeed. In the end, this is your country. It is your home. Let us build it together. Ladies and gentlemen, as a former judicial officer, politician, democracy activist, and now as a Speaker of the National Assembly, I can say that the media in Kenya has come a long way. Today, you are very powerful statutory allies, which have already been mentioned to you in Articles 33, 34, and 35 of the Constitution, which talk about freedom of expression, media freedom, and access to information, respectively. You have very enabling laws that protect your freedom, independence, and allow you to operate in relatively freer environment. But I also know that there are some old colonial laws, some carryovers from the dark eras that still linger in our books. We need to work together to clean those up, to make your work easier and more supportive to the democratic and national goals of the country. I'm happy that the Media Council of Kenya has identified many of those laws that need to be amended and or repealed. Let us work together to have them legislated upon. Speak to your MPs, use the House committees, and let it come to the House, and we will exercise our legislative wisdom appropriately. I know some of the journalists and editors in this room do not have great things to say about the institution of Parliament. But I believe that this is due to lack of information about what we have done as a Parliament to make access to public legislative information efficient. I'll mention just a few. First, we have for the last 8 years expanded the capacity of parliamentary officers working with the media. This has allowed journalists to cover parliamentary proceedings, news conferences, and House committees without hindrance. Even in these times of COVID-19, we have adapted and continue to strive to ensure that journalists have access to useful and important information from both committees, sittings, including videos, audio, minutes of the meetings, and reports. The information is so much that at some point we think it overwhelms the journalists. The Media Center at Parliament is also working well, and I've personally seen some of the people in this room conducting interviews with members on the parliamentary gardens. Second, I've seen some journalists who have used the Access to Information Act of 2016 very creatively to seek information from Parliament. A good example, one, Roy Gachohi, got very interesting new details about the history of the mausoleum of our first president, Jomo Kenyatta, which is on parliamentary grounds. There are also those who have asked about how many staff work for Parliament and the parliamentary budgets, just to mention a few areas. The stories they wrote have been a major step in demystifying the institution and explaining what Parliament does to the public. Third, these days, thanks to the internet and the digital migration, we have plenty of journalists and content creators who write about Parliament, and some even creatively package the live YouTube content from the parliamentary broadcasting units and share this far and wide with the public. They take Parliament to the people. To illustrate, so far, we have nearly 2 million viewers on our YouTube channel in just 4 short years. Our Twitter presence has attracted over 32 million impressions in just the last 200 days. I could go on and on, but as many of you can attest, To have a very traditional institution such as Parliament adapt to the digital world with such dynamic agility is no mean feat. Needless to say, when I first became Speaker, there was no social media handle for Parliament. But we asked ourselves, with my teams, what are we doing? Are we doing enough to keep the public informed? And then suddenly, I began with that of the Speaker of the National Assembly because we had to set the example. Ladies and gentlemen, this day is not about Parliament, it's about the media. Let me point out that we are very much alike in our duties and obligations to the people of Kenya. We in the legislature exercise oversight over public funds, public policy, and government planning on behalf of the people. You in the fourth estate hold all of us in public office accountable on behalf of the people. You tell us whenever you think we are betraying the country. You celebrate us when we do something great. And you also set the agenda sometimes for us. If we go rogue and pass illegal laws, any Kenyan can take us to court and have those laws annulled. But what happens if the media goes rogue? That becomes tricky, because when it comes to the media, it matters who assigns the label. The label has implications on media freedom and independence. It is not sustainable or proper or even necessary to use legislation to curtail media freedom and independence, especially in this era where we have digital media houses based beyond the jurisdiction of our national laws. We have to find another way to let the journalists, editors, and media owners understand that their role is so important to a cohesive, united, and prosperous country. I'm glad we have so far experimented with co-regulation, and it appears the Media Council and its Complaints Commission is doing a great job so far. The training on media law, standards, ethics, integrity, media literacy, and even the craft of journalism has been helpful in professionalizing the media industry in Kenya. But we must also be candid with each other. The monster of corruption continues to affect all our public and even private institutions. I've seen very screaming headlines about Parliament. We continue to fix the loopholes to strengthen the integrity of our legislative processes. However, I think time has come for us to also address the corruption in the media, not just the journalists who take bribes to look the other way or to write false and misleading stories, but also the quid pro quo between media enterprises and government institutions. While there are many journalists and parliamentarians who are ethical and have integrity, let us also assist each other to weed out the bad apples and not demonize the whole institution or profession because of a few corrupt individuals. For this conversation to make sense, today is my day to ask the media owners in this country to pay our children, their reporters, and news crew very well. They deserve it. These people go to every length to get us the story. I recently watched Purity Mwabia's incisive documentary on Citizen TV, and I was both shocked and worried for her. The risks involved, but also for the courage to go for the story. But in the end, how much do these people take home? I'm speaking as a stakeholder and someone who has been in the field across the country. An example, a media house sending a reporter to cover some corruption issue in some health facility in my own county of Embu, but without any means of transport or facilitation whatsoever, then expect that the same reporters will keep their integrity? Really? Let us be serious and honest with ourselves. Pay these reporters well and then demand integrity. I know times are hard, and the fluidity in the media has not allowed certain things to work too well. But this is about survival. Media houses need to adjust to modern business models for their enterprises to make business sense, employ and keep top reporters, and overall be able to keep the public well informed as their watchdog. We cannot in this 21st century expect our business ideas to work when we keep grasping at the business models of the past. So let everyone wake up and work in the present and not in the past. Failure to do this will make the media and journalists remain captives of the government and the House, which in itself erodes the whole role of the media as a public watchdog, thus completely shattering the freedom of the media. Remember, on this World Press Freedom Day, the Vidok Declaration envisaged a press liberated from government, political, or economic control. Equally, the Declaration stood against monopolies in the media industry and defended the widest possible distribution of media. Sometimes, in many African countries, the media is the enemy of the state. When the media stops serving the national and public interest, it becomes unhelpful to the people. I think it is reasonable to expect that at all times, the media will faithfully provide information to educate the public on important public issues to improve their lives, livelihoods, and the national and public interest. Ladies and gentlemen, I worry that many experienced and knowledgeable journalists and editors are leaving the newsrooms where their services are needed. There's no mentorship for the young journalists. In short, we are leaving a core component of our democratic architecture to people who may not know what to do with it. In this era of fake news, I think we must all think about the big picture. Yes, we have the disruption from COVID-19, and before it, the digital disruption, which has threatened the viability of media enterprises, but we have to adapt, or else we'll expose our democracy to corners we never want to return to. What is important is that we, as a parliament and as a media, focus on the exigencies that are affecting our country. We have COVID-19 public health emergency and an economic crisis that we must urgently tackle. Many people are suffering in different parts of the country. We have international partners that we have to engage to get vaccines to our people, markets for our goods and services to keep our economy running, and even funding for some of our projects. We have elections around the corner, yet we have key and resolved issues that have been bubbling under the surface for a long time. We have an ongoing debate about constitutional amendments and reforms that we need to interrogate wisely and educate the people so that the people make wise decisions whenever they are called upon to. We have to learn to deal with all these issues simultaneously and work on how we prioritize our agenda. We should keep rolling with the punches, and together we have a responsibility to do our respective jobs diligently, without fear or favor, knowing that the very future of our democracy, our country, and the people of Kenya depend on us. I know most of you may be wondering when I will get to speak about politics and talk about 2022, or perhaps comment on the headlines you have been writing, putting my picture on the front pages as a running mate or a potential deputy president or a prime minister and such like, or what you call credible reports from reliable sources about my presidential bid. Let me disappoint you, that is not the subject for today. The time for 2022 and the general election will come, and it does, you will know. However, I have decided to allow the media to be the media and exercise their freedom. For now, allow politicians to be politicians. Thank you very much for listening to me. And it is my pleasure to wish you fruitful deliberations as we mark this year's World Press Freedom Day. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Well, thank you so much indeed. A big round of applause for our chief guest, who will speak us at this time. Are we doing enough to keep the public informed? What happens when the media becomes rogue?
not demonize the whole profession. And of course, freedom is coming tomorrow. Well, freedom is coming tomorrow. Well, that was some years back. But when it comes to press freedom, freedom is now. All right. Thank you so much once again, Honorable Speaker. Now, very quickly, because of time, maybe we'll wind up with that song. Due to public demand on this particular side of the room. But for now, let's move on. We have a loaded program. Immediately after the break, we'll have panel discussions, breakaway sessions. So during the break, we'll enjoy that music. But of course, we've been told clearly that media freedom, press freedom is now. Ladies and gentlemen, the country requires policy and legal regimes that strengthen the protection and promotion of media freedom and watchdog role to speak and represent public interest agenda, and a framework that cultivates professionalism and accountability. As the media regulator in Kenya, the Media Council of Kenya has been working on creating an enabling environment for the media sector, and in collaboration with partners, embarked on a review of legislations affecting the practice of journalism and media in Kenya. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the report of the review is ready, and we are set to launch it. And to help us do that, I'd kindly request, first of all, we give 2 minutes to Ms. Phyllis Obonyo to give us some preliminary remarks before we launch. Ms. Phyllis Obonyo, please welcome. A big round of applause for her, please, as she comes. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mwakazi. It's good to see you again. The guest of honor, Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Justin Muturi, the Principal Secretary, Ministry of ICT, Ms. Esther Koimet, USAID's Chief Democracy, Governance and Conflict, Madam Kimberly Ludwig, who's joining us virtually, the Chairman, Media Council of Kenya, and the CEO, MCK, Mr. David Omoyo, and all protocols observed. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to join you on this special day where we intend to launch this audit that many speakers who came before me have made reference to. But before we get into that, I'll give a few remarks. We all know about President Nelson Mandela, who is globally regarded as the icon of democracy and social justice. One time, this is what he had to say: a free press is one of the pillars of democracy. President Mandela recognized the vital role a free media plays, which includes reporting on corruption, abuse of power, and violation of the Constitution. Here in Kenya, the media sector continues to actively play this role, despite a myriad of internal and external challenges that this sector faces. We do know that our Constitution has entrenched the Bill of Rights and provisions that guarantee the protection and advancement of media freedom. Notwithstanding, we continue to witness abuse of the media, and I won't say by who. Other challenges that media faces includes the lack of a media policy, multiplicity of regulatory bodies within the media sector, and that often leads to confusion and overstepping of mandates. Coupled with outdated and restrictive laws that some of the speakers have made reference to, these challenges create a general landscape that undermines the work of independent media. It is on this backdrop that we decided to partner with USAID support to try and alleviate the challenges in this sector.
And so we have been working very closely with government institutions, with civil society, as well as with media, to protect the civic and democratic gains that this country has achieved so far. This includes collaborating with diverse partners, including Internews, that is represented by Mr. Abraham Marita, who is in the room, as well as the Media Council of Kenya Consortium, including the Association of Media Women in Kenya, Kenya Union of Journalists, the Kenya Editors Guild, the Bloggers Association of Kenya, and all the others, to expand civic space and promote independent media. Ladies and gentlemen, the media legislative review that we are about to launch is an important step towards promoting an independent media. The review highlights 20 laws that need to be strengthened, changed, or repealed to protect media freedoms and independence as it continues to inform the public. If I'm to give an example, let's look at the Penal Code. And by the way, this is a law that was enacted in 1930 when the colonial government was trying to get entrenched in Kenya. This report calls for a comprehensive review of the Penal Code to remove provisions which constrain free speech. And that challenges us to look at the Penal Code. There are statements to the effect that just of imagining harm to the president is a problem, and then one wonders, how would you actually measure imagination? We also know that access to information is one of the keys to democracy, and this report highlights the need to support full implementation of the Access to Information Act through enactment of regulations. And so, ladies and gentlemen, these are just but a few examples to which the report recommends changes. If these changes are implemented, Kenya will create a conducive environment for the media to play its critical role in society, including promoting transparency, accountability, and good governance. Even as we advocate for favorable laws, members of the Fourth Estate, we also recognize that it takes two to tango, hence the need to enhance professionalism in the media. The report comes not so long after another launch that we did last year of a publication that seeks to enhance professionalism in the media. We called it the Guidelines for Court Reporting in Kenya, which was produced by our other partner, the Kenya Editors Guild. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we are so pleased with these partnerships that have enabled us to advance the media freedom as well as professionalism in the sector. We've also been working with the Media Council of Kenya to develop a draft media policy, because as it is right now, one does not exist, and this is due to be submitted to Parliament, as well as a review of the Media Council Act. Additionally, we have facilitated legal support in several court cases that involve media stakeholders, including 6 cases that are currently before the courts. And so as I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate that media laws review being launched today is a major milestone in our partnership with the sector. We are confident that this report will contribute to policy, legislative changes to improve the operating environment for independent media in Kenya. I take this opportunity to once again appreciate the generous support of our donors, USAID, without which this report could not have been made possible. And to all those who have joined us, I leave you with a quote from Nelson Mandela once again, who once said, "For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chain, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." Thank you very much.
Wow, excellent. Live in a way that respects and enhances the lives of others. This report is a review of 20 laws, and as it has been rightly put, it is here because of the great support of one key party, and that is USAID. So we really want to celebrate USAID, and to really talk to us about that partnership and moving forward, we have Ms. Kimberly Ludwig, who is joining us virtually. So, Ms. Kimberly, we are ready to hear from you. Thank you so much for the support. Welcome.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. I'm Kimberly Ludwig. I'm the Director of the Office of Democracy, Governance, and Conflict at USAID Kenya and East Africa. I want to start by giving a great congratulations to the leadership of the media sector in Kenya for the great achievements that they have made in informing Kenyans on key issues of national concern and setting the agenda on key governance, accountability, and human rights challenges. The COVID pandemic has brought significant challenges to the media industry and environment in Kenya, as we all well know, both financial pressures as well as pressure on what to cover and how, which threatens media sustainability. Media sustainability and media independence cannot be separated, and media independence is a central component of democracy, as so many of our speakers today have noted. It is an independent media that is able to provide unbiased, accurate, and impartial information to an electorate who must choose their political leaders. Like other sectors in Kenya, the media has a role and a stake in the ongoing reform agenda aimed at making Kenya's governance system more inclusive and accountable to the people. Your information and agenda-setting roles will be crucial as the country enters another phase of the BBI process and indeed the 2022 upcoming elections. Kenya continues to implement the 2010 Constitution, including devolution of power to local governments. Yet corruption poses a continued risk to the success of these reforms. The media has done well in exposing these concerns. The people and the governments of Kenya and the United States have a strong and long-standing partnership built on shared values and mutual respect. These values include free media and professional journalism. Over the years, the US government has provided support to various actors in the media sector to expand media freedom and independence, and to improve the professionalism of journalists, editors, producers, and all who investigate and report the news in Kenya. One of the United States' most important goals in Kenya is to partner with Kenyans to realize the promise of democratic reforms while strengthening the rule of law, protecting human rights, and safeguarding civic space and media freedom. USAID is changing the way that it partners with Kenyans, Kenyan institutions, and organizations. We are working in a very deliberate way towards a day in which foreign development assistance is no longer needed. It means that all we do needs to be Kenya-owned, Kenya-led, and Kenya-managed. For Kenyans and Kenyan institutions and organizations, this means bolstering their capacity and commitment for transparency, inclusion, and accountability to the Kenyan people. And the media plays a very important role in this. It is within this framework that the US government made resources available to enhance professionalism through a free, accountable, and independent media, to support the development of a legal framework for the media, and especially during these challenging times brought on by the global COVID-19 pandemic, to create a safe operating environment for journalists. We are proud to partner with FHI 360 and the Media Council of Kenya in this effort. So a very happy Press Freedom Day to you all. Asante sana.
Asante sana na karibu. Indeed, media sustainability and independence cannot be separated. And of course, all we do must be Kenya-owned, Kenya-led, and Kenya-managed. Thank you so much indeed, Ms. Kimberly. To close the part of preliminary remarks, please put your hands together for Mr. David Omoyo, CEO, Media Council of Kenya, ushering us into that place where we now launch the report. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much. I have no more remarks to make at this point, except to invite our chief guest, Speaker Justin Muturi, Madam PS, the Chair ICT, and Commissioner Lucy Ndung'u to straightforward launch our media sector legal review, which then belongs to Parliament and the Ministry for us to change the laws. So, mgeni wa heshima.
Makofi tafadhali, ready to launch the Media Sector Legislative Review Report. Keep the screen, but put off the light, please. The light, please. The light, the light. Ladies and gentlemen, watching via the Zoom platform online, we are now ready to launch the Media Sector Report. We will have a countdown. Just in a moment. We have a countdown here. Just in a moment. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. Let's go. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The launch of the Media Sector Legislative Report. Makofi tafadhali. Ladies and gentlemen, the report is here. Asante sana, Honorable Speaker. Many thanks indeed. We can now stand for a photo session. The report, ladies and gentlemen, will be available online, so don't you worry about getting a copy. So this particular copy, the review report, this is a report. It's a review of 20 laws that in one way or another have affected the performance of media in Kenya with regard to the transformed media landscape over the last 2 decades. So please note that the report will be available online. Asanteni sana. Thank you so much indeed. Thank you so much indeed. Asanteni sana. We may now kindly take our seats so that we can get instructions for the next session. Very critical session. For those watching online, please take note of these instructions. The breakaway sessions begin in a couple of minutes. We are now going for a break. A link was shared via your email. We will have 2 breakaway sessions for now. All you'll have to do is log out, leave this particular meeting. Then in about 30 minutes, we should be back. Log in, then you'll be able to access the breakaway sessions as indicated in the program. The first panel will be on the topic Media and Information Literacy as a Catalyst for Right to Information and Audience-Led Programming. And that will also be happening at the same time with deconstructing gender-based violence. So you don't want to miss that. So at the moment, let's log out. Then we'll come back to join in for the breakaway sessions. Asanteni sana, and God bless you. Let's meet later on. Yes, our freedom is here. All right, ladies and gentlemen who are here, you can now go for it.